Okay, so I'm here with Robyn Jorde. Am I saying your last name correctly, Robyn?
Actually, it's Jorde.
Jorde, good to know. So Robyn Jorde, she's one of our artists in the Botanical Art Collective Summer Show, our online exhibition. And she is coming to us from her beautiful backyard. And Robyn, thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. As you and I were talking just before, this is a great way to give voice to some of the art and gets people a little bit more connected with it. So it's nice always to hear from the artist. I'll start by asking what brought you to botanical art?
Well, I've always enjoyed having a garden. Both of my grandmothers were gardeners. They always had vegetable gardens. Um, I have not done that, but I do enjoy having a flower garden. And that's where I turn whenever I want to do artwork that is based on direct observation. When I want to look at something and get into um, a meditative state where I'm just noticing every detail, I look to botanical subjects for that. And having the garden means there's lots of stuff right there at hand. A lot of my work is based on where I am, where I happen to be. So I take materials from my garden, I pick up stuff on my driveway, and it's all very close to home.
Wonderful. Could you describe your process to us a little bit from seeing, just an image of your work, not having seen it in person? It seems very layered.
It is.
Yeah, wondering about that.
Well, I usually begin by just building up a surface, and I'll have many pieces at that stage in my studio where I'm just kind of, intuitively throwing paint on it and saying, oh, I like this, and I'm going to texture that, and I'm going to use this color and that color, and without really anything in mind. And then when I do take a subject, like I did for these pieces that are in the show, then out of that kind of random and sort of chaotic dart, I'll start bringing some kind of order to it by bringing out shapes and colors and textures that I find in my subject. So it's a process of taking something that's kind of random and organizing it into something that somebody else can recognize. And this is a process that to me seems a lot like life. So I enjoy working that way.
Yeah, there's a lot of metaphor in there, I think. There was one of the pieces in particular, you wrote a little bit about, every submission, the artists will write a little bit about the works. And I wanted to read it because I just thought it was so perfect. It's for your piece, Jester.
Oh, sure.
And so it's this dried, kind of weathered leaf. And say that it's lost most of its autumn color, but it still had plenty of attitude. And I really liked that. The shapes made by the split at the top reminded me of a jester's headgear. And for those that are watching this, there you go. There we go.
Yeah, I happen to have it here, so it may not show up very well on the screen, but that's the key.
It is, and it does have a lot of attitude. So yeah, if people, that's great that you showed it to us. Thank you. And then they can go online and look at it if they would like to see it again. But
And
yeah,
probably
I really like the idea that you're taking something that most people would put in their compost bin, and it does have a little bit of an attitude. Close looking at things often brings out something more than was there before.
When it comes to botanical subjects, I like to pick things that are, have a sense that they're dead. They've fallen off of the tree. They're not alive anymore. But I like them at that stage uh, where they've done their job with photosynthesis and supporting the life of the tree or the plant or whatever. And now they're being transformed. And like you say, they're just one step from the compost heap, turning into another kind of nourishment for the soil. And I like evoking that life cycle that way.
Got some new sounds.
I'm kind of in a flight path.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I have a question. So, kind of spoiler alert. I send to the viewers, I send artists questions beforehand, so I'm not, startling them with questions. You've answered my other two questions, basically. I'm going to go off script a little bit by asking, is there a particular location that you really just love the flora of? Are there particular plants that you really love to use as your subject?
Oh, well, I think that's a very good question, because I don't just do botanicals, but a lot of my work is about making connection with a certain place. So I don't do any work that I don't have personal experience with. And really, the closer it is to where I live, the better I like it. So you won't find me doing exotic flora or anything like that. I tend to do either the things that I grow right in my garden or that are in my neighbors' yards, things that people see every day and maybe don't pay a whole lot of attention to. Mm-hmm. And because I'm working from direct observation when I do these things, I really like the fact that I'm giving intense scrutiny and becoming very, very involved with these things that maybe are not very important to a lot of people. And they become important when you concentrate on them and really honor them by giving them attention, I think. So yeah, I keep it very close to home.
Yeah, I think that's great. The idea of a sense of place, I think, is very important, especially now when I hope, at least, and I think that people are paying more attention to where they are.
Yeah.
If people are at home a lot, and I notice that people are out walking a lot, and I think that's a great thing to really appreciate your locality.
I think a lot of us have been forced to slow down, and there's good and bad with that. But I hope that people are finding a lot of good in it, and relaxation, and just appreciating their surroundings. It's too easy to ignore the things you see every day, and that's like 80% of your life.
Right.
Enjoying 80% of your life, not ignoring it.
I agree. I'll end by asking, you'd mentioned that you work in other styles and you have other subjects outside of botanical art. Are there any artists that you draw inspiration from?
Oh, I am really, really a fan of an artist named Charlie Hunter. He does a lot of plein air and landscape work. I enjoy his work very much. Contemporary guy. I like the work of Fairfield Porter. And I like a lot of the American Luminists. I like Innes and those guys too.
Great. Well, it's always good to know artists don't work in a vacuum. And so I always love to hear who artists are looking at and what their inspiration is.
No, you're right. In some respects, there's nothing new under the sun, and we're all looking at each other and taking a little here and a little there, and hopefully when you put it together, you get something that's unique to you.
Yeah. Well, I think you have, definitely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Robyn. Now I know how to say your last name. Do you have a website or any social media platforms that you'd want to share with the viewers?
Oh, sure. My website is www.robynjorde.com, and Robyn is spelled with a Y, and Jorde is Jorde. And I'm also on Facebook under the same name, and Instagram.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you. Your wind chime is beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Erin. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, definitely.